Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. Good to be with you this morning. Since it is the day after Mother's Day, I wanted to share a relevant message today, something maybe a little lighter, a little more fun. I want to read a story to you that I read. It's from a book called Chicken Soup for a Mother's Soul, and it's just a cute little story I'm going to read to you. This young man is writing this. He says, "My Army buddy Dan and I loaded our car and drove past the military police at the main gate of the Army station. And armed with weekend passes, we were on our way to Florida. Blessed by not finding our names on the weekend duty roster, we had decided a weekend at the beach would be just the thing. So we wanted to recover from 4 days of sea rations and mosquitoes in the hills of eastern Alabama. We cruised into Birmingham and decided to stop to phone our mothers and wish them a happy Mother's Day before we continued our journey. Well, reaching my mother at home, I could tell by the tone of voice that she was disappointed that I wouldn't be there to spend that special day with the family. She said, "Have a nice day and be careful, we'll miss you." But I could tell that she was hurt. When I got back into the car, I could also tell by Dan's face that he was suffering from the same guilty conscience that I had. And then we had a brainstorm. Let's find a florist and send flowers to our mothers. So pulling into the parking lot of a local florist, we scribbled a note to go with the flowers that would absolve us of our guilt. And we waited while the clerk was assisting a little boy who was selecting a flower arrangement of his own, obviously for his mother. Fidgeting by now, we were anxious to pay our bill and be on our way. But the little boy beamed with pride and turned around to me and held up his selection while the clerk was ringing up his order. And he said, "I'm sure my mama would love these. I'm going to put them with some flowers from our yard," he said, "and then I'm going to take them to the cemetery to put them on her grave." Well, I looked up at the clerk who was turning away and reaching for a handkerchief, and we watched the little boy leave the store with his prized bouquet and crawl into the back seat of his dad's car. And the clerk asked us, "Have you fellas made a selection yet?" Barely able to speak. "I guess we have," answered Dan. We dropped our notes in the trash and we walked back to his car in silence. "I'll pick you up Sunday evening," said Dan as he dropped me off at my mother's house. "I'll be ready," I answered as I wrestled my duffel bag out of the back of the car. Florida would have to wait. We were going to go and spend Mother's Day with our mothers. So that's a cute little story. And it reminded me of what Paul says in Ephesians 5:15 and 16. He says, "Be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity because the days are evil." It's interesting that he says the days are evil. In other words, I think what he's saying is that we live in a society in which the temptations to do evil are prevalent, the temptations not to do good, that society has a pressure that invariably comes on us to keep us away from doing the things that we would like to do or that God would want us to do. It's easy to neglect the good we should be doing, to neglect the Word of God, to neglect the acts of kindness and love and grace that we should be doing for people around us. Now, the boys in the story are reminded that they were missing an opportunity to show love or kindness, and that by missing that opportunity, they were losing something great. That nobody is guaranteed tomorrow. You miss that opportunity today, you might not have it again tomorrow. It should not be wasted. It should not be squandered unwisely. A small gesture of love is something so easy to give. A phone call, a smile, a touch on the shoulder, a card, a hug, whatever it is, and yet we don't take the time, we don't take the opportunity to do it. You know, some people say it's just not my personality. I just don't say those kinds of things. I just don't feel that way. I don't do those kinds of things all the time. They walk around with loving words and expressions and gestures all pent up inside them, and they never get out. You know, words of love, kindness, appreciation, compassion, these are gifts to another person. These are things we can give at very little cost to ourselves, things that can have a great deal of meaning. And to have those feelings ready in your heart and never express them to the person they're meant for is kind of like having a gift that you've wrapped and tied with a bow and you have all ready, and then instead of handing it to somebody, you put it back in a corner somewhere and you leave it there. And pretty soon you've got a whole pile of gifts that have never been given to the person that is meant to have them. Mother's Day is a reminder that at least for our mothers, at least for these wonderful women who have given us our very lives, we need to be sure we don't miss the opportunity to show our love and to say thank you. The days are evil. Our lives are fast. Our lives are burdened. Our lives are stressful, and they move too quickly. And often we don't feel like we have the time or the energy or want to make the effort or feel ready to offer those gifts to other people. But the scriptures tell us to live wisely, not unwisely. To not let those opportunities pass, but to make the most of every opportunity, not just for our mothers, but for everyone, to share those gifts with them. So let's thank God for all our mothers, and let's do our best, not just on Mother's Day, but all year long, to share with them and others our love, our appreciation, and our understanding. May God bless our mothers, and may God bless you. Have a great day.